In the last session, I created the steam bent bow based on a shape developed by eye since there was no drawing or information in the magazine article. There's more work on the bow and I will show how to do that in the following steps. One issue is the extra material at the top end of the bow. This creates an overlap when fitting up with the other half of the bow. To clean up this connection, we need to create a face on the green-blue axis that will be used to trim the connection. Now I suspect that there will be some small faces here, so we need to scale up the component, and I'm going to use a factor of 100. Probably not necessary, but anyway, I'll do it. Then we can select the faces for an intersection. Hold down the Shift key and pick these three faces and right click and execute the intersection with selection. To help with the cleanup of waste, I'm going to pick a front camera position. Here it is, front view. And then also have parallel projection. Then I can use a right to left selection to get as much of the waste selected as possible for deletion. I probably should have, I left a little bit of a wedge in here. Let me get closer and see if I can knock out more of that little extra material. Bring that into view. Right to left selection. There, I got a little bit more of it, which leaves just a few lines here that I can select and delete. Okay, I think that's cleanup. However, we do have some lines up here on the top. Let me just select all and do a smoothing, and that'll knock out those extra edges. And I think we've got a good connection now with the other half. I can descale back to full size by typing 0.01. Now what's missing on our bow is a 5/8 inch diameter tenon on its end. So we've stopped this bow at the seat line, and it needs to continue through the seat with a 5/8 inch diameter tenon. We also need a tapering from the existing 13/16 diameter down to a 5/8 diameter. I'm going to do a push-pull here to bring a circle up into the up into the leg here, about 5.5 inches is a position to start the tapering down to the 5/8 inch diameter. For reference, I need to have a 5/8 inch diameter circle, so I'll draw that reference outside of the component definition. Also, I need to change the axes of the component, of the bow component, so that the tapering process will be consistent with the orientation of the bow. So I'm going to set this axis along the center line. Doesn't matter which axis it is, I guess. That's the green axis, but it's along the center line. That's fine. Now I can proceed with the tapering process. I'll turn off X-ray and edit the component, and then select the very end face and edges and pick the scale tool, and then hold the control key so that it'll scale about the center point, and see I'm bringing it into that reference circle, which is 5/8 inch diameter, and stop the scaling. And that tapering would have started about 5.5 inches up where we placed an internal face. Now I can create the tenon with the push-pull tool. It needs to go through the seat. You can see it as it goes through the seat to the left, and about 2 3/8 inch long tenon is going to give me the right kind of length here. You can see that will be wedged when the bow comes into the seat, wedged from the bottom. We've got the wrong color, so we can select these faces and reverse faces, and then we've got some extra lines here that we can soften. So that completes the making of the tenon. Close the component. Let's inspect what we've done here. You can see now we've got a very good flush, consistent connection there at the middle of the two halves, and the tapering looks pretty good from the 5.5 inches up. We can get rid of that hide that line in the bow. But I think it's a good time to create the full-size template for the steam bending process. Make a copy of the bow and move it to the right. Then we should rotate it up so that it's aligned with the blue axis, blue-red axis. So I'll watch for the alignment when the little flag will tell me, there it is, the blue axis. So I can stop the rotation. And then I'm going to explode the component. We want to have the inner edge of the bow shape to define the outer edge of the bending form. So I'm going to execute an intersection to create this outer edge of the bending form. Then I can click on that and make it a component and replace selection with a component. Check that box and also type in the bending profile. Let's pull it away now from the bow itself. Yes. So we can make a full-size template of that shape and build a bending form that's put onto likely a plywood sheet. And I'll just connect the two halves to give the view of the whole bow shape. And we can make that a scene called bending template. It's already here, so I can save that view, and we can print it out full size.